Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the 19th hole. We are live, as always, on In Between Media. Make sure you make sure you subscribe to the whole damn page. 19th hole, we're going to drink a little bit. We're spiritual. And we're going to cover the ZOZO Championship in Japan. Konnichiwa. So, without further ado, Connor, let's hit the intro. Once again, In Between Media presents the 19th hole, as always, live on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, everybody. You can find us anywhere. If you stream a video, you should be watching this right now. We're going to talk golf. We're going to talk spirits. We're going to really hone in, trying to go 4 for 5, picking winners in the wraparound fall schedule. This is the ZOZO. Lock is going to hit at 4:45 Pacific on Wednesday. So tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening, if you're on the East Coast, is lock, because Japan, I think, is 18 or 19 hours ahead of us and on the West Coast. So yeah, it's going to be an early lock for a lot of us, but that just means that we're a little sharper on the ownership percentages with the show tonight, since we're locking in just under 24 hours from now. I'm excited. Connor, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It's nice to have you back. We hung out with Seth last.
I did catch the show, and I put a little bit on Tom Kim. I think everybody at In Between Media had a little Tom Kim action, and it's a good thing because he won.
That's what I'm told. I heard he did okay. No, it was fun, man. Hanging out with Seth's always a good time. Seth might be the only person that mispronounces names worse than I do, so it was kind of a breath of fresh air for me. But
I'll be decent at that. That's one of the things that I'm good at in a party, is pronouncing people's names and maybe telling where they're from based on their last name. So we'll do our best.
Well, yeah. So it was a good week, though. It was a good week, and like I said, man, good to have you back. I broke out. I was contemplating when we came on air. I don't drink the Toki very often, usually only when we're Japan themed. And I took a sip and I was like, man, I forgot how good Toki is.
Suntory is a good distillery. I am fresh out of Japanese whiskey. I did have some sake. I'm out of that too. I'm just out of anything Japanese. I had some Nikkei Japanese whiskey, really, really good stuff. But I think I finished it a couple weeks ago, and I haven't bought any more yet. I was expecting to cover the ZOZO, and here we are covering the ZOZO. It's a no-cut event in Tokyo or thereabout, and you're going to have a bunch of these top guys kind of just tuning up for just staying alive, keeping the tournament thing, and understand that this ZOZO Championship is a very well-funded event. It is a worldwide tour combined event, no cut, and we're talking the richest of the rich are putting in for this ZOZO Championship. So the purse is nice, especially for the fall season. It is attracting some of the biggest names in the world of golf. So it's actually a decent wraparound schedule event, and I don't mind covering it. I just was not looking ahead and cleaned out all my Japanese whiskey for the event. So I'm drinking my go-to Buffalo Trace, which I just restocked. I got about 2/3 of a bottle left, and then Costco just got the handles in stock, the 1.75 liter for $25. So I got another one of those.
There are worse things to have as a go-to standard. That's for sure.
Oh, this is easy money.
Yeah. No, you kind of were talking about it a little bit. I mean, the field is actually pretty decent, and like on top of that, like some of the Asian players in this field that we rarely see or even talk about There's some really good guys in this field that people don't know.
Yeah.
And all in all,
a couple guys we've talked about for a couple of years now.
We've mentioned a few of them here and there along the way, but no, I think for the wraparound season, I think this is actually a pretty decent event. Obviously it's kind of shitty for us.
This is the class of the wraparound season, honestly.
It'd be nice if we could figure out some kind of time warp system, because I'm not going to get up and watch the ZOZO overnight. Sorry, I'll have to catch the replays.
No, you'll be able to finish it in prime time. Like, it's going to be like their morning tee off is 4:45 p.m. Pacific, so that's 6:45 your time.
It's weird. I was trying to figure this out because I was looking at on their website they have the coverage mapping, and I think it's 8 to 4 Pacific time, maybe, that it's on Golf Network.
That makes sense.
So I mean, we'll get to watch a good chunk of it, and definitely
it's not like waking up at 2 a.m. to watch the first tee shot from Britain,
which we do.
Yeah, I don't mind staying up late to watch most of the action of the ZOZO, although I probably won't. I'll probably watch the first few before I start to pass out around 10:30, 11 o'clock. That's about how far I'll go.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. But the course is, I think it's a lot harder than anything they have played. It's a little more of a thought-provoking course, I guess.
Oh,
but no, we'll break it down real quick before we get into the club twirls here. But it's the Accordia Golf Narashino Country Club in Japan. It's a par 70. It's about 7,080 yards. Kind of a unique setup with the greens. Like a lot of Japanese courses, this place has got dual greens on every hole. They do that so they can play on the grass that performs better given the current conditions or current time of year. So bent grass is one set of greens, and then it's a Bermuda Zoysia blend is the other set of greens. I would anticipate that we will see mostly the bent grass, I think.
Yeah.
Not to say that they can't mix it up, but it should.
But they do that year round too, where they can switch it up based on climate, but also because it takes up a lot less real estate. Like, I wish some of the American courses would take heed to this idea, because in Korea and Japan, they do this dual green thing a lot, and it uses like a third of the real estate as a course that's laid out normally.
Well, in this one, on top of that, speaking of the real estate, I mean, this is a pretty narrow course. I mean, it's a pretty tight, compact course. So, I mean, yeah, to your point, and obviously you can read the mileage on it. It's relatively short. It's sneaky. I mean, it does, the whole composition makes it play a little bit longer than what that 70-80 will tell you, but
it's got some hills too.
It does, and
undulations.
Undulations. And the layout's a little funky. You got 5 par 3s, 10 par 4s, and 3 par 5s, so that's a little bit different. But all in all, this is an accuracy course as probably the biggest thing to keep in mind. Like we said, you got tight fairways, you got water hazards in play, they're tree lined. And then on approach, these are definitely smaller than average greens. It doesn't really matter which setup they go with, the winter or the summer style greens. They're still a lot smaller than typical. You're going to be met with bunkers at the front of almost all of them. You got steep and fast runoffs. It's definitely an accuracy over anything else. And then it doesn't hurt to mix in some guys that can scramble and get up and down, because people are going to miss greens. And this is anything but a birdie fest typically. So a little bit of contrast from what we've been doing the last few weeks.
Yep. And without any more pomp and circumstance, the course is what it is. Shout out Royal Slade, our buddy from Calgary, Alberta. Evening, fellas.
We were pulling for your boy Hadwin last week. He almost got it done. We were feeling good on him too.
A little maple in his eye really messed him up. All right, let's get to club twirling and let's bet on some golf. Let's win 4th time out of 5 weeks in the off season. Man, we're pretty close to 70% for last season. So I mean, we're kind of a big deal, you know.
Word on the street is we're pretty good at what we do.
Shh.
you're going to wager on PGA golf, you got to know some things. Sometimes the best play isn't the one you bet because the odds aren't good enough. This is the example I want to use for about the top 25 on the board here, according to DraftKings Sportsbook and most of the other books I was looking at, FanDuel, Caesars, MGM. They all look relatively similar. They got their ass handed to them. Here's what happens with PGA Tour is you can't really have odds shorter than 10-1 unless it's a very heavy favorite and in a golf tournament, because nobody will bet it. Nobody will bet it if it's not appealing. And when a betting favorite wins, the casino still has to pay out 10 or 11-1, like last week, where the betting favorite was Tom Kim at 11-1. And a lot of people flooded the betting pools with 11-1 bets on Tom Kim, and Tom Kim won the tournament. So all these casinos got their ass handed to them last week. And these odds are directly reflective of the casinos losing lots of money last week because they are ultra, ultra short and not appealing at all. But we're still going to bet on it because why? We're degenerates.
Also, something word on the street I've heard. You know what's interesting?
True.
I don't disagree with what you just said about the casinos taking it in the shorts, but what's interesting to me is there was so much hype around Aubert.
Yeah. So we went 2 years mispronouncing this guy's name. But apparently, all I need to do is see the little O above the A to know that that's the sound it makes.
What do they call that? Umblat.
It's one of the, I don't know what they call it, but in certain Nordic languages, they use that letter. But all it does is indicate how the letter is pronounced with the little letter over the top, the little O. So with Swedish, yeah, it's like, how are we supposed to know that it's not Aberg? Like, we're just English speaking people who look at it and go, that's Ludwig Aberg. Ludwig
Oberg.
Yeah.
And depending on who you listen to pronounce it, you get the G at the end or you don't. So it could be Oberg or Aubert. Who knows?
I think it's a really soft G, if anything. But at the end of the day, we're sorry, Ludwig. If you ever watched the show and you were like, dude, these guys just don't get how to say Oberg. And it's not Aberg. Like, our apologies. We didn't mean to mispronounce it. We will correct going forward, as with any of these names. Some of them pretty popular. Xander Schauffele is the betting favorite this week at a paltry 7-1. Connor, why the hell would anybody bet Xander Schauffele at 7-1?
I don't know why anybody would. I certainly won't.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, Didi's she's kissing up. Why are you being so nice? What do you want, Didi? She wants to laugh at us. That's why.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's in luck because probably the majority of what we're going to do tonight is talk shit to each other.
Yeah. Ludwig is going to win very soon. I completely agree, Royal. He's been a favorite of the show since he turned pro. So
yeah, the biggest thing with him, man, last week, and I totally agree with Royal too. And I mean, I think the entire world probably agrees.
Great.
He is one hell of a golfer. But
62 on Sunday, that was legit. I was, because I was ahead of you. I was way behind you and most of the week, and then he shot 62 on Sunday morning, and I was like, holy crap, I'm ahead of you somehow. And you still had a bunch of guys to play because only three of my guys made the cut, and you only had two.
Yeah,
but you happened to have the winner who got 30 extra points for winning the tournament, and I lost by 28, I think. So
yeah, I had
Kim was your entire team. Yeah, to Kim and Hadwin were your entire score, and I had an extra guy make the cut and a 62 on Sunday. And for a little bit, I thought I might pull it out, but it was really close comeback win. Tom Kim with the victory gave you the victory, so congratulations.
Hey, thank you. I made a really bold strategic move of playing Lexi Thompson, so that was probably not in my best interest.
Hats off to Lexi. She played outstanding. Round of applause. Missing the cut by 3 on the PGA Tour, regardless of where it is. Male, female, that's impressive.
Yeah, she held her own. I don't know.
Good. She didn't just hold her own. She looked good.
I don't know if you watched to the very end of the show, but my deep dive pick was Ryan Moore, and I had the money to play Ryan Moore, and I should have played Ryan Moore against you. But we digress. So getting back to the bets. Yeah, Schauffele at plus 700. I mean, I get it. He's probably one of the 3 best players in this field, I suppose.
Players, but not necessarily in good form. The last we saw him, he was okay. He wasn't winning anything.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty middling in almost everything right now. And the scary thing about him, especially the last few times he's been out, and not that we need a reason to talk ourselves out of plus 700, but he's no good around the greens right now. He can't scramble. He can't get up and down. And I mean, no matter how much you want to romanticize his approach game, he's not going to hit every green. So
it's so romantic.
But I will pay for Collin Morikawa.
Hell yeah, 12-1. The one Schauffele bet I will take a shot at is a plus 165 top 5 bet, because I do think he'll hover around the top of the leaderboard. At plus money, that's a pretty nice solid bet. You can double up and then plus change on that, and then Collin at 12-1 is the class of this field. And if Collin wins, guess what, casinos, you're gonna lose your ass again, because a lot of people are betting Collin because they see what we see. They see a betting favorite that's not as good as the betting second favorite, and of course that fits him absolutely perfectly like a glove. He's going to be as chalky as any player all season in DFS. So I pray that all of us win. I don't care about the casinos. They will make it up in other sports just fine.
The way NFL's going, they'll probably make it up within a millisecond on Sunday. But
yes, the way NFL is going, by far, they make so much on NFL bets because nothing happens. Like the Eagles and 49ers just lost to PJ Walker. And who's the Eagles? The Jets, Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson and PJ Walker beat the 2 last undefeated teams. So the casinos won plenty.
Yeah, that was painful to watch. But with Morikawa, like to your point, like I built a few different models because like the eye test for me on Morikawa maybe failed me a little bit here. Like I did not think or did not realize he had been playing as well as he had been.
So accurate.
Yeah, and that's all it is. Like the way I weighted this thing is very accuracy focused. And so
he's as good as it gets at hitting the ball straight in the fairway, middle of the green, or within a decent proximity. And all he has to do is make some putts, and we're talking about a top 5 player in the world.
100%. And one of the biggest things I like with his approach game is he's pretty handy with the longer irons. So some of these par 3s and all the par 5s, one of the par 5s is over 600 yards. So, I think Morikawa, much like Tom Kim last week, there's no reason to get cute. I genuinely think Collin Morikawa is probably going to win.
Yeah.
So that's where a large
and to get 12 times your money for that sounds pretty nice.
So that's where I'm going to tie up a lot of my money this week. There's players I want to play in DFS and I can get cute there, but on the betting card, I think the cream of the crop's going to win. You look at the previous winners here in Tiger and Hideki and even Keegan Bradley, like
planners.
These are strategic golfers that have a lot of miles on the tires, so
they know exactly what they're doing on every shot. It's not just by hole, it's shot by shot. Everything is planned out from Thursday through Sunday. They have it mapped out on Tuesday and Wednesday when they're doing their practice rounds. That's what they're writing in the yardage books. They're writing out a plan based on where the pin placements are because they know general vicinity of where the pins are going to be on each day. And they'll go through with their caddy and plan out every single shot. And they can plan out and see where they can attack, where they can be conservative and make par and move on, how to mitigate damage if they get put into a certain spot. That's what the best pros do, and especially on a course that's going to require a lot of planning. That's where you're going to see Connor's right. The smarter, more experienced, savvy golfers who have played a lot of worldwide events, they're going to do really well here.
And not necessarily directly related to last week, but this is another course where if you look at it, the guys that have played here a few times, they typically are continuing to do well. So yeah, it's
my nose. That's what that emoji is for.
I think that's for the book it.
Booked it. Are
And
you saying we booked it?
Mr. Timothy Welch did. So at
Tim
least
Welch booked it.
At least we know Welch is winning some money this week.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, not to belabor it. Collin Morikawa in my mind is this week's Tom Kim. I'd say run to the window and grab it because I do think that number is going to get shorter in the next 24 hours because
yes,
there's a lot of buzz around him.
Yeah. Which they can't do anything about because my money's already in the books at 12-1. And I'm also pretty keen on, even though it's short odds, I pegged him as a 22-25 bet, but Min-Woo Lee, also an accurate golfer. He's got a little more distance than Collin, so he's going to be a long iron guy that's not going to have to hit the long irons. He's going to hit the mid irons when Collin and everybody else are hitting longer ones on the par threes. This guy can get around the course. His ball striking is outstanding. And even around the greens, much improved for Min-Woo Lee. He just won. I love a hot golfer coming into a course like this where he's played Asian Tour events here. This is exactly what you want to see. And although he is a Korean from Australia, that still plays here.
Yeah, Min-Woo is my second favorite this week, and
mine too.
I like some other.
That means though is we're gonna be winning together, brother.
For once in a while.
And your package is hitting the mail tomorrow. It's been sitting on my counter for 3 days, so just know that I'm thinking about you.
I can't wait. I am excited. What was I going to say about Min-Woo though?
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you before Min-Woo. I had to pay off about, I think it was at least 9 weeks advantage that Conor ended up with in DFS. So I decided to round it up, and I'm sending Conor a very special bottle. I'll say it's just a very special bottle of whiskey that I know he will love, and I'm shipping it to Sioux Falls right now. It's actually sitting on my counter. It's gonna go in the UPS box tomorrow, and I'd probably early next week you'll have it on your doorstep.
I think what you mean is you're shipping me tractor parts. I'm pretty sure
you wish.
I think you have to tell UPS it's tractor parts.
I don't have to tell UPS shit. I packed this thing down. You can't tell there's anything in there. It's very evenly weighted. There's no way for them to know.
It's nuts and bolts. I'm very excited because you're always drinking stuff I want. So I'm very, very, very pumped.
This is a bottle. You're going to open it and you're going to lose your shit. And I hope it comes on Monday or even early Tuesday so you can show it off on the show.
Oh, and no matter what way we cut it, I won't crack it till we're on air. I'll bring it.
Okay, that's perfect.
Min-Woo.
Min-Woo.
So everything you said about Min-Woo is what got me onto him initially, and then as I modeled out a couple of things that stood out as continuing to be like good reasons to buy into Min-Woo this week. Excellent scrambler, very, very good at getting himself out of trouble. And the other thing too is like if you look at the tournaments that he's typically kind of done well and hung in, it's been these more grindier tournaments, and he still shoots low within those. Mm-hmm. But I like him more at a grind fest and less at a birdie fest. So this just really, really sets up nicely for him. And he's in great form. Mm-hmm. So I like the Min-Woo at plus 1,600. I also like him for first round leader at plus 2,500. Yes. And then the other one I like is DK has got top rest of the world, so every country except America. You can get Min-Woo at plus 650 on that. So there's some pretty juicy Min-Woo numbers out there.
Yeah, that's true. And he's pretty much even like Sung Jae and Min-Woo are a couple points away from each other. And then Cam Davis is interesting at 20-1, but I'm going down to Keegan. I like Keegan. I love Nikolai Højgaard at 40. For me, that's my third guy in on my card. Nikolai's a DP World Tour vet. He's dabbled on the PGA Tour. He's shown pretty well. I don't think he's quite to the level. He's 24. He's super, super young. But you have a guy with his level of talent. He's kind of in that bucket right below Ludwig Aubert. But like Nikolai Højgaard's a really, really class golfer, and he's a very accurate golfer. And that's what I love to see from a guy 40-1. I'm kind of skipping through a lot of these guys because their odds are so terrible. And so I'll take a 40-1 shot on Nikolai.
Yeah, I looked at that, and he barely missed my card. And the reason he did is at 40-1. I like Adam Svensson just a little bit better.
Oh, don't kiss up to the Canadians. I know that they represent a very heavy portion of our viewing audience. Shout out to Canada. However, homer pick. You're not a loony. You're from close to the border.
He just rated out better. Like, to be honest, in the things that made him rate out better.
I smell a side bet.
We can definitely have a side bet on this one because they're
the same odds, 40 and 40.
Yeah, we can do a side bet. And I think the thing with Svensson that stood out to me is just the form since July. Not that making cuts is important here, but he hasn't missed a cut since July. He also hasn't.
He's not going to miss the cut this week.
He hasn't gained any less than 2.5 strokes on approach since July. He's excellent from 200.
Tim's already planning how you're going to drink your whiskey.
Excellent from 125 to 150. Like, the two ranges that he's going to be playing from, he's tops in this field. He's third and fourth, respectfully. So
I'm absolutely stunned that the Canadian is in agreement with you.
Hey, man, all I can tell you,
he's right, but I can't help but make fun of both of you.
All I can tell you is he really, it's not often you're going to hear me say that Adam Svensson lines up for anything, but he does line up pretty good for this course. So I think 40-1 is actually a pretty good number on him, just based on form. I mean, he really is in good form, and he could rise to the top here.
All right, so we got a straight up side bet for a beer. Nikolai Højgaard against Adam Svensson. All right, well, you're on.
You want to just send me the beer now?
Shut up. I've been pretty good at my side bets. That's the one.
You know what? Send me a fucking Molson, okay?
I'll send you a case of Labatt's.
Perfect.
And I hope you open the box and they're all just shattered. I actually have a pretty slim card because of the odds. Again, I'm loading up at the top with those two guys at the top with Minwoo and Morikawa, but I'm doing a lot less reaching this week. I just don't feel like the back of this board's going to be able to play with these top guys. But Kurt Kitayama, shout out NorCal, 60-1. I like him. I really like him. He's another DP World Tour stalwart before he hit the PGA Tour. Does not model well here. He's not an accurate off the tee player. However, he does have the length to hit iron off a lot of these tees, and long iron approach, he's got that in spades. Short game's good, putting streaky. He's exactly where I expected him to be at 60-1. So that's why he made my bet, because obviously I root for the guy. He's good. He's a good friend. Nice guy, talks to me. He talked to me, man.
in the form of a restraining order.
Right, we're from the same place. It's just cool to see a guy from your hometown doing so well, and he showed up well here in the past. So I do expect him to stay here in contention. At 61, sure, throw $10 on him.
I didn't want to steal your thunder. I actually also like Kurt Kitayama here this
week.
Boom!
You gotta give the shout out.
Shout out NorCal. So you inadvertently hit the nail on the head why I like him here. So the longer hitters typically on this course will club down to a long iron because of how narrow the fairways are.
Tiger did it all those times he won here.
That's how Tiger plays.
2 iron stingers off every damn hole.
And if Kitayama has one really nice shot in the bag that I can say is incredibly consistent, it's that low stinger shot. And then the other thing too is I've said this about Kurt Kitayama a lot of times because we do talk about him quite a bit, is I always prefer him in more of a grindier, especially a no cut grindier event.
Oh, it's perfect.
So I do really like how it sets up for him skill wise, and also just the format of the tournament. It's again a 60-1, throw a couple bucks at it. I think it's probably a little too accuracy focused for him to win here, but I it's not to say he can't, but I think the odds are probably pretty appropriate where they're at.
Yeah, That's all I'm saying, is that when left with all these other really bad odds, like it seems pretty easy to bet him.
I do have
Um,
one below. I actually have three below him that I'm
Fire away.
really
I only have one other one.
So my first one is Ben Griffin. We don't need to belabor why Ben Griffin makes sense here. He hits the
I'm
ball.
sorry.
He
Sorry.
hits the ball in the fairway, hits the ball in the green. This
The
is a
most
lower
boring golfer on the planet.
70-1. As long as he's consistent, he could definitely win. Ryo Hatsasuni at plus 72. That's actually pretty good. I practiced that one.
Yeah, it's Hisasune.
Well, I was close. But he's
Hatsune is like, oh, how hot are you? I'm Hatsune.
well, I mean, no judgment. Maybe he is.
Ryo Hisasune.
Hisasune. But no, he's actually a legitimate talent. He has excellent approach play. Very, very good at avoiding big numbers. Hits the green almost all the time. And on top of that, he's number 9 in this field for fairway accuracy off the tee. So, not to mention, he continually pops up in World Tour and Asian Tour events. And he finished 12th here last year. So he's got that course knowledge piece that we talk about. And the only thing that really tends to hold him back is his putter, which he did pretty all right with it here last year. So I think he's going to be pretty familiar with the greens. And 7,200 actually seems long for him. I kind of expected him to be a lot shorter. So that's kind of a little bit of a dark horse. And then actually one of the ones that jumped off the page to me was Sam Ryder at 80-1. He's in really good form. He rates out number 1 in approach over the last 24 rounds.
Nice.
There's not a whole lot to poke a hole in his game right now. I mean, Sam Ryder is actually in excellent form for Sam Ryder. And that
for 80-1.
That approach metric alone at 80-1 should be enough to throw a couple of bucks at him. I mean, he is literally like head and shoulders above anyone else in this field at all the key approach metrics that we're looking at. 80-1 on the betting card and 7,100 over on DK. Like, Sam Ryder just makes way too much sense this week in a no cut event. Yeah, sign me up.
There's some wild odds down here at the bottom too. I was just looking at that. Look pretty fun. Just throw a buck at. But I have 2 more actually. I did want to throw some bucks on Akshay because of the way the course is set up. Short approaches especially, he's going to be really good. Maybe not for an outright win, but his outright total, if you want to throw a couple bucks on Akshay at 75-1, that's nothing. No skin off her back. He's got the talent to do it. But just a top 5 or top 10 bet's a really good payout. 14-1 top 5 and plus 550 for a top 10. I'll definitely take those bets. And then I'm throwing some top 10 bets on our guy Dylan Wu. Shout out Southern Oregon. Yeah, Dylon, and Dylon, the 5 best rappers.
Yeah, I love Dylan Wu.
Dylan Wu's odds are sexy, like 90-1 for a guy that's been that good, consistently good all year. I will take the top 10 bet on Dylan Wu is plus 650. So you're going to win 6.5 times your investment for playing a guy who's done that a few times this year already.
No, I can't argue that, man. We talk about Dylan Wu every damn week, so let's get it.
He's so consistent.
Let's get it.
And then I'm looking down here. I just wanted to see, because there's some 300 and 350-1s. There's some 800-1s on Satoshi Kodaira. One is 8,000-1. 8,000. No, it's 800. 800-1 on Satoshi. 50-cent bet on. I mean, it's his home country. He's not a bad golfer. Why are these odds so long?
I don't know if it's just because they don't know how to price these guys out. Like, this week's weird. I mean, because there's some other guys from the Asian tour, like Ryotaro Nagano's down there.
Nagano, yeah. And there's Shugo Imahira, who's done really well lately.
Ishikawa's down there at 350-1.
Taiga, not the rapper Taiga, but Taiga Semikawa is down here at 250-1. Like, you can get really fun with a $1 flurry of Japanese bets.
I actually have one guy down here that is ridiculously long that has popped up and can play really good and actually hung for a minute last week. That is my like. I think it's going to become a segment of the show, but it's my I've done dumber shit with $5 bet. And that's Taylor Werbelow,
We're below
who's also Swede.
1,500 to 1.
Yeah.
1,500 to 1. So a $1 bet if he wins is $1,500.
Like I said, I've done dumber shit with $5, and he's like oddly long. Like I cannot figure out how he's down there. And they've got him juiced up all over the place. I mean, you can really get some good numbers on him if you shop around a bit. So,
yep,
no cut event.
1,500 to 1. 1,500 to 1. Crazier shit has happened.
No cut event, man. I mean,
that'd make your whole year in one day.
Again, I've done dumber shit with $5.
I did that today. Today, every day. All right, you ready to get in some DFS? Neither one of us were doing so well. We were both slamming trunks last week with missed cuts. We won't have to worry about that at the ZOZO.
The club as well. This would be a wrestling class.
I just realized I said Taylor Werbelow, and it's Trevor Werbelow.
Trevor. We're below. We're not above, we're below.
That's right. And he does like to slam his trunk in grand fashion, but we don't have to worry about that this week with him. So
about 70% of the time.
Yeah. But again, anyway.
I wonder why he's 1,500 to 1.
Doesn't play a lot of no-cut events, obviously. Top of the board, sir. Top of the morning to you.
Xander Schauffele, fade of the week, 11-1. I will skip him and go right to Colin Chalk at 10-8. If Xander is the most leveraged player, I'll play some of him, but I'm going to be below the field on him.
So this is probably the chunk of what I was going to talk about. I don't really know how to start this week because you do need to get some of these top guys in here. And sure. Navigating the chalk is tricky. So Morikawa is the chalk that I'm going to eat this week. I definitely think he's going to win. He scores a ton of DraftKings points in no-cut events.
104.
Yeah, you got to play Collin Morikawa, but he is coming at 32% owned. So that's not bad. If you're building up top, you got Xander and Sungjae. Both are about 16 to 18. We'll see how the chips fall. Hideki's at 14. Cam Davis is at 25. Adam Scott is at 26. I don't get that. So for me, it's probably Keegan and Rickie. Rickie is tracking at 7.9. Rickie had a T2 here last year. He's a grinder. Definitely a very accurate golfer when he's on. So I really like the way Rickie sets up here. I did put him as additional bets to consider on the column this week. So I think Rickie in a lot of lineups may be my second in because Morikawa, Rickie, there's some guys down the board that work. So
yeah, and
you got to do something.
Sure. I like the value plays too. I'm probably going to start the same way I'm betting with Colin, Minwoo, and Nikolai. Those are the three that I'll probably start with. That gives me plenty to work with in the low 8s and high 7s where I like it so much. Obviously getting down below 7K in this week is going to be rough. But I mean, I agree with you on Colin. That's a eat the chalk moment because we both feel like he's going to win. Adam Scott, I don't get that chalk at all. So yeah, have at it. Mass is 26%. Anything above 20 for Adam Scott this week is a mistake.
Hey, I don't track with it. He's not historically the best off the tee. He's got a decent approach game. I don't think it's anything that was Adam Scott even 4 or 5 years ago.
No.
So I don't follow that. I do think somebody that we haven't talked about at all yet that I'll have a fair amount of shares of those, Sungjae Im, shorter hitter, very accurate.
Very accurate.
So I really like Sung Jae a lot. He's another guy that it was an additional bet recommendation in the column. I didn't talk about him when we were going through our cards, but he's definitely live to win here. And 15.9%, that's also a pretty reasonable amount for one of the top 5 guys in this field. So for me, yeah, it's probably Collin, Sung Jae, Rickie, and Min Woo, and then Keegan in an isolated amount of lineups. I'm not going to go nuts with Keegan. He's good, but I've learned over the years I can't trust.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
Can't trust you, Keegan.
I just hope we don't have 6 matches this week, honestly, because I think that could happen.
Once you start building with these guys, it directs you right into like the guys that you have to fill it out with. I mean, it's kind of
That's why I'm kind of afraid we're gonna have so many matches this week in our head-to-head. Maybe it'll come down to our side bet. We'll have 5 matches in our side bet.
Our side bet's the tiebreaker.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think down in the 8s? Is Eric Cole gonna be?
Is he gonna figure it out? What's going on with him? Like every time he rates out well, he does nothing for us.
Yeah, because he can't drive the golf ball. 54th out of 70 in this field for good drives gained.
Not ideal.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, the 8s are pretty sparse. I like Vincent Norman. I like Nikolai at 87, but I mean it's pretty paltry here.
Svensson for sure for me, 8,200.
Svensson, yeah, he's in my pool for sure. I just given all the Canadians crap, but he's a decent play here. Aaron Rye is kind of a pop-up in a grinder type event, so he's definitely worth a play in this type of event because he's so streaky. Like he'll shoot 63, then shoot 77. You don't know where he's going to be if there's no threat of missing a cut. Aaron Rye in a worldwide event, he's British. They conquered the whole world a couple hundred years ago.
And he wears 2 gloves.
2 gloves, Aaron Rye, and iron head covers.
Well, that's you got to protect your investment, Bo.
For sure. Like the working class mentality from Aaron Rye.
And joking aside, like I do like Aaron Rye as a human being. Like I've listened to some interviews, and I think in an event like this, Aaron Rye is definitely somebody that will be in my player pool. I had him last week, and I was less than convinced. I kind of talked myself into it, and I think he does set up better here. And he does rate out 9th in my model. So I mean, Aaron Rye.
Oh, that sounds pretty good there, Connor.
It is pretty good, Bo.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. The only thing I
know
about.
Seth is watching is. So we gotta make sure we don't forget to tell Seth not to play Callum Tarrant.
It's a no-cut event, man. Maybe he should play Callum Tarrant.
He'll somehow miss the cut.
He'll like.
I have a really bad feeling that Callum Tarrant's gonna shoot. He's gonna go out in 47 and just quit.
He's just going to go hit the bar up and just call it a weekend.
Yeah. Good for him.
Vincent Norman, I will continue to keep playing him. You already talked about him. I love again, in a no cut, we can throw out the one bad round he's inevitably going to have. So that's good.
Nice.
Getting into the 7s though, Ben Griffin again, and then Mark Hubbard. Mark Hubbard rates out number 3 for me over the last 24 rounds.
You said Ben Griffin, it put me to sleep again.
We'll get you some no-dos. But Hubbard for real, deadly accurate. And number 2 in this field for shots gained on par 3s. There's 5 of those on this course. I don't know if people were listening earlier. And then he's number 4 off the tee and number 11 in overall approach. So again, Hubbard just fits the archetype we're looking for here. So I really, really like Hubbard at 7,600.
Yeah, I do. I like that too. And yeah, I like rooting for the guy. Akshay, 7,400, good score. Kitayama, 7,400, good score. Ugh. Yeesh.
Rio's right there at 72.
Hisatsune.
Sam Ryder at 7 flat. I already said I'm going to play a lot of him. And then Dylan Woo's right there at 7 flat too.
Yeah. After that, it gets ugly.
It does. There's a couple guys down there that I'd take a swing or two at. I did want to mention Cam Champ at 7,100 because I No,
you gotta
hold on.
shout it out. You gotta
No,
shout it out.
I'll shout out NorCal for this because I am in the minority here. I am not sold that Cam Champ is like somehow fixed all of his problems and now is like a world-class
It looks
golfer.
pretty good out here. Looking pretty good out here.
I'm going to take a pass on Cam Champ chalk this week because everybody wants to play Cam Champ.
Yeah, fade the chalk for sure because it's still an accuracy-based course, and that is the opposite of Cam Champ. He is a bomb and gouge specialist who found a short game the last couple tournaments. That's it.
Yeah, and I am not going to start cashing checks on.
You cannot
on the
bomb and
promise.
gouge it from the base of a bonsai tree. It doesn't work.
No, I'm just not buying the hype. And I think if anybody like does any reading or watches any other shows, I mean, a lot of people are kind of jumping on this Cam Champ hype train.
It's a qualifier. I'm hilarious tonight. One night only. I'll be here all week.
I mean, I've heard you funnier. I've heard you not funnier. So
it's true.
Down below so we can get out of here.
Oh, Seth is here. Buy the hype. He's talking about Callum Tarrant. Buy the hype. Buy the bar around Callum.
Yeah, Seth should buy us around yeah, I think down here below 7K, David Lipsky is somebody that I probably have a little bit of interest in, just all around approach game if you have to be down in this range. And then very legitimately, I'm going to play Nagano. It's 6,500. He rates out really well. He's actually, I think, underpriced in comparison to some of these guys down in this range. So that's about it. I might throw a couple of lineups with Justin Lauer. Good approach game down there at 6,400.
You love him.
But yeah, down there it's pretty slim pickings. I'm not going to buy into the Matt Neesmith narrative. We missed our window. He plays good at the Shriners, and that is it.
Yeah, that's about it. Connor, smart move. I'm not sure what she's referring to, but smart. Well, let's sew it up here. First round leader, Minwoo. That's who I'm going with.
That was probably who I was going to go with, but I will go.
You just never want to agree with me on the first round leader.
I'm going to go Sam Ryder, first round leader.
Woo, spicy. What's the odds on that?
60-1.
Nice. I'll take that. That's a good way to start off your week. A little Wednesday night action.
Yeah, wake up and then you can blow it on Thursday Night Football.
Oh, I blow it fast. Clip that. All right, so winning score, no cut event, average difficulty course.
I think it's going to be somewhere around 16 to 18. Like I'll go 16.
I will go 18, just to be on the other side of that.
And then who is your outright? And if it's Morikawa, we're just going to have to meet in the middle on it because
it is. We both agree that Collin Morikawa is going to win this thing.
Yeah. I'm very, very confident that's Morikawa. I think Hideki and Rickie would probably be the next two that I could see from those top five guys. Hideki has one here, so I think Hideki at 1,600 is a pretty good buy too. So.
Right.
But all in all, no cut event. Watch the fireworks go, and
yeah. All right.
See you in a few weeks.
Yep, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Connor's gonna be painfully waiting to open his bottle for the next show.
We're gonna get too drunk on the next show, probably.
Perfect. You don't want to miss that, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe to In Between Media. Join us for the next one. Oh, Didi. Yeah. Couldn't agree more that we need a raise. Yeah, Seth.
Thanks for coming by, guys. It's always fun to hang out with you.
Yeah. All right. Let's hit the outro and skedaddle.